Hey, what's going on YouTube? Today we got another Magic the Gathering deck review, and this one is going to be white. So mono white, white Weenie, Stompy, whatever you want to call it, but white. So this one is kind of like the black deck I showed last time, as far as the creatures are kind of small and don't require a whole lot of mana to get them out, and they also have a lot of first strike protection from different colors and stuff. So anyways, we'll go through the cards like normal. I'll show you what they all are, then we'll mana set, do a play test, and then call it good. So here we go. First off, we got Isamaru, the Hound of Konda. So you can see it's just a 2/2 for 1, the rare. So it's a pretty good card to get out on the first turn. So if you could, if you played first and you got to drop your cards first, then this guy's pretty good. I mean, I know it's only a 2/2 and doesn't really have anything else attached with it, but still pretty good. Then we got our basic islands, or basic plains. Next we got Umezawa's Jitte. Now Umezawa's Jitte's a legendary artifact, and as you can see, whenever equipped creature deals combat damage, you put 2 charge counters on Umezawa's Jitte. And you remove a charge counter from Umezawa's Jitte, you choose one, equipped creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn, or target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn, or you gain 2 life. So it's an equipment card, and as you all know, equipments, or maybe you don't know, equipments are considered a sorcery, so you have to do it on your turn. So you can't do it as a fast effect to equip it. However, you can do it as a fast effect, instant, whatever you want to call it, ability. Actually, I'll take it back. You can't do that. So you have to do it. You have to do it as a sorcery. So you remove a charge counter, and you can do any of these things. But you can remove as many as you want because it doesn't require tapping to do it. So as you do have to do it during your turn, you can still take the charge counters off. So you can make this thing pretty good because you can just continue to add charge counters to it, and then if you want to make a creature like really big, then you can just take them all off. Say you had 4 on there, right? And you can make your creature +8/+8 until end of turn with whatever other ability it has, and maybe first strike or shadow or flying or something like that, and be able to do pretty good damage. Now I know it takes a while to build it up, but still a very good card to have in this deck. I mean, it would be a good card to have in any deck really, but still good. And then we got our Order of Leitbur. This is another Pump Knight, opposite the Order of the Ebon Hand from Fallen Empires. It's the +1/+0 for 2 white or plains, or give it a first strike for 1 white or 1 plains. Now this guy is in Japanese. This is called a Soltari Monk. Now he's 2/1 shadow for 2, and can't be blocked except by other shadow creatures, and he has protection from black. This guy's important for this deck. This one is Soltari Priest. It's a 2/1 for 2. As you can see, it has protection from red, shadow. Alright. And then everybody's favorite, Wrath of God. This is bury all creatures. 2 colors, 2 white. This card is really strong, especially if you're trying to do a reset. Say your opponent gets the better hand on the deal, or the draw, I should say, and you're just kind of lagging behind. You just aren't getting the creatures, or all you're drawing up is a big, huge land pocket or something. You still have this card in your hand. You can just kind of reset the board and bring yourself back up if you have this. So a very good card. And then we have Congregate. So this one's a life gain. Gives you 2 life for each creature in play. So it's pretty good for the Weenie deck or whatever, because you have lots of low casting cost creatures to get out on the table pretty fast, and then you have this to back you up if you're taking too much damage later on. And it only costs 1 white and 3 colorless, so it's actually pretty easy to get this played out, especially if you have a Soul Ring or some other mana source just besides plains. So pretty good card. Then we have Disenchant. This is pretty much a staple card for any white deck. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. this works on creatures too. So if you had an artifact creature, you know, like if you're playing Umezawa, say your opponent's playing this Umezawa's Jitte, you can use this and destroy it. Okay, so boom, gone. All right, so Disenchant is really good. It only costs 1 colorless and 1 plains. And then we have the famous or infamous, I don't know, whatever you would call it, Serra Angel. This one is a 4/4 flyer for 5, and it has a vigilance, which means it doesn't attack to tap. So remember how I told you in a previous video, when you are declaring an attacker, first off, you can't attack on the first, you first get it out unless the creature has haste. Okay, let's say I played this out, and now it's the opponent's turn. They take their turn. Now it's my turn. Now this creature is able to attack. It's good to go because it's no longer uneligible to attack or unaffected by summoning sickness. So you can still attack with this one on your second turn, and you don't have to do this. Tap it to attack. You can just say, okay, I'm going to attack you with this one. Now if you had, say you had this creature out and this creature out, you still have to tap this one because it doesn't have vigilance, but you don't have to tap this one. So it makes it good because you can use this as a blocker for your next turn, right? And there's other cards you can put on here to make it bigger, and it's a flyer. So you got all these different advantages for this card. This was a really good card to have in a white deck. Only thing that is kind of drawback on this one is because the higher casting cost. So if you had 4 of these in your hand, or I know that's a little bit rare to see, but let's say you drew this on your first turn and you had like 2 of them in your hand, right? And then 5 of the cards, and maybe 2 of the 5 of the cards were land, and then you had a Disenchant and maybe 1 creature, and then you had 2 of these, you're going to be hanging on to these for a while. So it's kind of hit or miss with these. If you can get your land out quick and you have other mana sources besides plains, then this is good. So just keep that in mind. When we have another order, and this is kind of what I was talking about when it comes to enchantments on creatures. So this is called Empyrral Armor. Now, some of these cards like Disenchant or say Wrath of God or Congregate, you'll be keeping them in your hand if you have them, because you may not need to play them right away. Okay, so if the game's going in your favor and you don't need to play those, you can just hold them in your hand, and that's where this card comes in. So yeah, it's 2 white, 1 colorless, but enchanted creature gets +X, where X is equal to the number of cards in your hand. So you can just imagine the combination you could have here, right? So you got this guy who's a 2/1 shadow, can only be blocked by shadow creatures, and then you have, you throw this thing on there, right? And then let's say you have a Serra Angel in your hand, a Disenchant, and the Congregate and the Wrath of God. So now you got a 6/5 shadow, and it can't be blocked except by, or it can't be blocked by black creatures, and it has to be blocked by shadow creatures. So you got a really good advantage on this card for your hand right there. So that one's actually pretty good. So Empyrral Armor. And then next we have Wing Shards. This one you'll want to use, and it has Storm, right? So this one's good to get rid of creatures. So if somebody attacks you, let's say with a big nasty or something like that you want to get rid of, and you don't have any way of getting rid of creatures, you can play this, right? So Storm, when you play this spell, copy it for each spell played before it this turn. So let's say your opponent plays 2 creatures out, and then he attacks you, right? And you play Wing Shards. Well, now your opponent has to sacrifice 3 creatures, or 2. I said 2 creatures because he played 2 cards, two spells. So that's why it's important when you're playing that you don't, like, let me say, you want to attack first and then play your other cards you want to play for the turn on your second main phase, because of cards like this. This can really, really screw up a person's day when they play against you if they're not careful. So kind of a little bit of strategy there. Something you might want to keep in mind when you're playing against somebody. Next we have Order of the White Shield. Now this is the Knight of Stromgold from the same set actually, but it's the white creature instead of the black one. and it's a pump knight just as like the Order of Leitbur. Another Soltari Priest. Then we have White Knight, the opposite Black Knight. I know this is like, I think this is Japanese. Might be Korean, I'm not really sure. But yeah, so what all that says there is basically 2/2 first striker for 2 white mana, protection from black. Now, if you don't know, protection from black means that you can block a black creature and it won't deal any damage, right? But your white creature, let's say, what was the card I had in there? Okay, Chronotog. Remember the, or was it, yeah, Chronotog. So, no, it wasn't Chronotog. Necrophage, that's what it was. Necrophage in the black deck. Remember, it was a 2/2 for 1. Must attack each turn, or it does 1 damage to you. Or excuse me, if you untap it, it does 1 damage to you. If you don't want it to, you have to tap it. I think that's what it was. I can't remember for sure, but it was something like that, and it was a 2/2. So let's say you attacked me with that Necrophage, and I blocked it with this. Because it has first strike, protection from black, that means that this guy won't take any damage from the black creature because it's protection from black, and this guy will do his damage first to the other creature. So even if that creature was had the Unholy Strength on it and everything, and it was like a 6/5 or whatever, it still wouldn't do damage to this. It wouldn't die because of this guy, but this guy wouldn't die either because of protection from black. So very good card. Another Congregate, Soltari Monk. Oh, and here's the English for it if you guys didn't see. So I know the other one's Japanese. Another Serra Angel. And then another Wrath of God. This is Portal. Now Portal, if you're custom at Magic, you know that Portal is like kind of a beginner's set. You know, this the way it reads here. Put all creatures into their owner's discard piles. This includes your creature. So it kind of spells out cards, you know, more thoroughly, I guess you could say, than other cards when it is telling you what to do, because it's designed to be a beginner set. And then we got Empyrral Armor, another Disenchant, another Umezawa's Jitte. Now, as far as the Jitte's concerned, it's a legendary artifact, and I'm not 100% sure if you can play both of these out at the same time because it's a legendary artifact. At one point in time, they had these rules where legendaries could only be played of one at the same time, and I'm not sure if they've changed that since, but I know that at some point in time, you couldn't play 2 of the same legendary creature, artifact, land, whatever. One of them would end up being buried in the process. But still good for card count. If you really want to get this out, having more cards of the same type obviously works because you'll be able to you have a better shot at getting to play it. So, another Order of Leitbur, Soltari Priest, White Knight, the Congregate, Soltari Monk, another Wrath of God, White Knight, Disenchant, Serra Angel. Here's a alternate art for it. This is, I think, 4th edition. Yeah. Order of Leitbur, Empyrral Armor, Wing Shards, another Order of the White Shield, another Order of Soltari Monk, and then Sol Ring. Now, as I told you before, Sol Ring is pretty much a staple in any old style legacy type deck, because I mean you just can't beat this 1 colorless and use it to add 2 colorless. So it's just like perfect, and you can use it right away. So very handy card. White Knight, Congregate, Serra Angel, Wrath of God, Plains, Empyrral Armor. So here's what it looks like. This is the deck. Now your aim is to try to get at least, like, when you're building a deck, your aim is to make it as close to 60 cards, including land, as you can. Sometimes you might go over, but it all depends on what you're aiming for. All right, like you see here, you know, 8 or 5 stacks in each, and then 4 cards, so 10 stacks total. With 4 cards is 40, so you want to have like 40 cards and 20 land, 60 cards. That's the idea behind it. Like I said, some people play with more, some people play with less. I knew this one guy that had like 150 cards in his deck. I don't know why, but you know, hey, it is what it is. Some people like to play that way. But now I'll show you sideboard. These are more to get, you know, depending on what it is I'm going for. But remove target artifact or enchantment from the game. Alter a light. Cage of Hands. Now this is like a pacifism. Pacifism, I think, came out in Mirage. Maybe it was before that, but pacifism kind of did the same thing. It was an enchantment for 2 1 colorless and 1 white, and you would put this on there, and the creature could attack or block. But this one allows you to bring it back to your hand with 2. See, so it's kind of like a pacifism that stays in play even if the creature dies, as long as you bring it back to your hand. So it's pretty good. And then Steelshaper's Gift. You search your library for equipment card, reveal that card, and put it in your hand. So originally I only had this in here because of the Umezawa's Jitte. So probably just need to take this out. I don't think you really need it. I mean, as you can see, it has the Jitte on it right there. So, or maybe it's like a sword, I'm not sure. But yeah, so that's the sideboard. Okay, so mana set this thing and then play test it and see how it does. And some people will play a white deck with what's it called, Crusades. Mentioned before with the black deck, the +1/+1 enchantment was called a Bad Moon. Some of those, like I said, get kind of expensive. If you want to, you know, buy them or whatever, they probably cost a little bit of money. Crusades, the same way. You know, +1/+1 your white creatures. That would be something I would put in here for sure, because this deck is, I've always had really bad luck with this deck. I don't know why. It just never wants to play right. I get land and no creatures, or I get creatures and no land, or I get a whole bunch of non-creature cards and just, I don't know, just a mess. So we'll see how it goes here with the play test. I probably need to go through and maybe change up some of the creatures, the way this is built. But I was trying to pull off a legacy type white deck when I had this in mind. Excuse me. There was a, or still is a card. I don't remember what it does, but I think it like makes. Actually, wait a minute. I think I do know. But it's called Geldorian or Keldorian Outpost, and it makes, I think, 0/1 white token creatures, and it's a legendary, or not legendary, but a land, non-basic land. And that's pretty good to put into a white deck with Crusades in it, because you can have, you know, 1/2 Weenies, or, you know, what we call it, 1/2 small creatures, Weenie creatures, beat down creatures, however you want to call it. At your beck and call, you just have to pay the cost on the land. I think it's maybe like 2, like a colorless and a white to do it. So it's pretty good. Keldorian Outpost, pretty good. I think it's out of Alliances as well. Another one in here that I don't have, which I probably would like to have as a sideboard, is called Swords to Plowshares. Swords to Plowshares is a creature killer from, you know, all the mainline sets that came out back in the day, Revised, 4th edition, Beta, Alpha, Unlimited. And what it does is it's a one white, 1 plains, just 1 casting cost to completely remove a creature from the game, and the opponent gains that much in life. I think it's equal to the creature's power. I don't remember for sure, but it's a really good card to have in a legacy white deck, and I just don't have any. Otherwise, it'd probably be in here, but pretty good to have. So here we go. Off for the cuts. Here we are. I'm gonna drop our 7 cards here. All right, here we go. Now you may see that I have different colors on the deck protectors, and the reason why is because I just didn't have enough of each one. So what I did was I just made half the deck one color and half the deck the other color. I don't know what's in them, and usually, you know, I'll let people know right off the bat, hey, this is how I'm playing this deck, and they're usually okay with it. So, all right, here we are. So first turn, play land. All right. Second turn, draw. Turn 2. Land, and we're going to play a Soltari Monk. 2/1 Shadow. Alright. Turn 3. Play a land. Remember how I told you? You want to attack first, just in case the person has a card like Wing Shards. So you 2, so 18. And then you can play a creature afterwards. Another Soltari Monk. Alright. Turn 4. Now look at that. Got our Empyrral Armor. So at this point we don't really want to play any more cards because we have this in our hand until we draw something else out. We have enough to play it, so we'll throw it out there. Now remember, this guy can't be blocked except by shadow creatures, right? So now we got a 1, 2, 3, 4. We got a 6/5 shadow creature, okay, and a 2/1. So that's 8 that we're gonna be hitting person with. So that's now they're down to 10. All right, and then we'll go to turn 5. All right, turn 5. Now we have 5 cards in our hand. So now we have a 7, 6, and a 2/1. All right, so we'll attack for 9. That takes them to 1. All right, and then now we go over turn 6. Draw. Now we have an 8, 7, right, and a 2/1. And we attack for 10. Now, that's it. So 6 turns to take them down. Now, I know you would have to probably block creatures or get rid of creatures, or you know, you're not going to be able to go 6 turns without being attacked or something like that from the opponent. But it's just, like I said, just me going through this deck review, showing you just an easy deck to build. This is kind of a budget deck. It doesn't cost a whole lot to build, you know, build something like this. I don't know how much it would cost, but you know, a lot of these cards are common, uncommon. I mean, Wrath of God's rare, the Jitte's rare, that's uncommon, rare, but Serra Angel's, like, you know, it doesn't cost really much. You probably get them for $1 a piece, you know, so not too bad. And that's actually pretty cheap because it's revised. You know, if you went like Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, you're going to pay more for this. But, you know, if you just want to have it just to use it, revised, I think, is the last set that came out of. Old set. They have redone these in a different set, but I don't remember what they are. They're like, it's like Modern Masters or something. I don't remember for sure. But some of those ones that they redid are still kind of expensive. So if you really wanted to get a Soul Ring to put in the deck, you want to probably get this one. Your best bet, and that would probably be the cheaper one. Even the new ones are kind of expensive, like I was saying. So anyways, yeah, that's the white Weenie, or Beatdown, Stompy, whatever you want to call it. Pretty good little deck to hold your own mono white. But yeah, that's all. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. And let's see, probably next thing we're gonna look at is either a I think about doing like a playthrough for maybe Dark Souls or something like that, but I'm not really sure. So we'll see how it goes. Might do that. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and take care.